So in this video, we're going to talk about Padlet. Padlet is this like online notice board kind of thing where you can just drop in a copious amount of notes that have links and videos and text and drawings and all sorts of cool stuff. So it's padlet.com, and we'll take a look and see how it works. And we're also going to talk about some different ways that you could hopefully use this in your classroom. So here we go. So this is Padlet. You want to go to padlet.com. And then if you've never made an account, you're going to sign up for free. I've made an account, so I'm going to log in. Just so you know, when you sign up, I took a screenshot here so I can show you. When you sign up, you're going to have two options. There's the basic free forever option or the pro version, which costs you $8 a month. I'm on the free version. I expect most of you will be. You're limited to 3 Padlets though and 10 megabytes of files. I don't think the 3 Padlet limitation is a huge deal because you can pretty much just keep deleting Padlets and making new ones as you need them. So let me log in here. I logged in with my Google account, or I set it up with my Google account. So there we go. I have 3 Padlets, so I made a couple just so I could show you what they look like. So I'll be able to make one more to kind of demonstrate the tools. But basically what you have is you have this part right here where you can make a Padlet. You could join someone else's Padlet. The gallery will look at its public Padlets, and I'll use it to kind of show you what some of these different things look like. So we're going to make a Padlet. When you make a Padlet, you have 8 different things to choose from, and it just kind of depends on the look and the thing you're going for. And I'll show you what all of these things look like and how you could maybe use them in class. But for now, we'll just kind of pick one. I don't know, let's go with Canvas. Like I said earlier, it all basically works the same way. So when you first start, it's going to give you this whole menu of things you got to do on the right-hand side. So you would give your Padlet a title. You could give it a description. Actually, I changed my mind. There we are. Description could be instructions for your kids or just a description of what the Padlet is or whatever you really want. You can pick an icon. You don't have to have an icon. As you can see, there's tons and tons of icons here. So we'll go find a basketball. There we go. I'm going to back out of this. So there's that. This is the address that you would use when you're sharing the Padlet, whether you share it to Google Classroom or just a link in an email or a link that you turn into a QR code or whatever. This is the link. You can modify this section and create your own custom link if you want. If you're making a lot of Padlets, I don't know if it's worth the time to do that, but either way, it's up to you. So the wallpaper, you can change the wallpaper. You have solid colors, gradients, textures and patterns, and pictures to choose from. So I'll just pick something here. I don't know. And we'll go with that. There we are. You can change the color scheme. You can change the font scheme. Incidentally, when you click on these different things, like you can get an idea of what it'll look like. So as I'm clicking on these fonts, you can see up there in the left-hand corner where it kind of changes the look. So there we go. All right. For posting, it says display author name above each post. If you have your kids create Padlet accounts, then when they post, you could actually have their author names appear. If you don't have them create accounts and just have them log in as a guest by clicking on your link, then it's never going to display an author name anyways. So this would be a moot point, but you can toggle that on and off. Comments allow viewers to comment on posts. You can toggle that on and off. Reactions. Reactions are things like you can have kids like things, upvote or downvote, rate it, whatever you choose. And then you have these content filtering options. So you could sit there and make it so that, you know, if you don't trust your kids or whatever, everything they put up there you have to approve before it appears. You can also filter out profanity. Hopefully you don't have kids like this that you have to worry about, but there you go. So I've got all this the way I want. I'll click next. And then it says you're all set. Post to your heart's content. So I'm going to start posting. So when you post, you go to the lower right-hand corner right here where that plus is, click on that, and then here we go. So I can title it whatever. I can write something. I can also add various things to it. So we'll just leave that like that so that we can see what this is going to look like. So when I add another post here, maybe this will be a picture of a ball. So you can see I've got all these different things to choose from. I could take a picture. This right here allows me to find a picture on Google. And we'll just take that. There we are. You can move them around depending on what you chose. Now, since I chose the canvas, I can move these around and place them wherever I want. So let's add another one here. So I'm going to make a link right there. I've generally found when you put links in to actually go to the site first and just copy it just so that you don't accidentally mess up the link. Anyways, I'll put the link. There it is. Hit save. Gives you a little thumbnail of what it looks like. Now I have a link. I won't go through every single thing you can post, but just know that when you come up here and go to these three dots, there's all sorts of other different things that you can put in there as well. The draw thing is kind of cool, right? So you can draw whatever. It's just kind of a whiteboard. And there it is. So with the canvas, like I said, you can move them around, and then you can also sit here and do stuff such as connect to a post. So I could connect it to this one. See, now I've got this connection right here. I could take this one and connect it there as well. So that's what you can do with the canvas thing as opposed to some of the other ones which you can't. So once I'm done, let's say every kid's shared, everything is good to go here, then you can exit out of this Padlet and we'll come over here. And that's right there. There's my 3 Padlets. If you need to delete a Padlet because you ran out of your 3, go to your 3 dots. You can archive it, which saves it, but it's not on your main page. It would actually be found over here where it says archived, or you can delete it. Anytime you try to delete a Padlet, they'll give you this code. Type in the code, and there you go. It's all gone. So that's creating a Padlet and deleting a Padlet. Now let's talk about sharing your Padlet. So you've created the Padlet. You need to get your kids hooked into it. So you're going to share it to Google Classroom or make a QR code or whatever. So right here where it says share, you're going to click on that. And you got to make a few decisions. And these are really important because if you get this wrong, you could have kids deleting your Padlet and then everybody be sad. I don't know. They might be happy because they don't have to do whatever assignment it was, but you would be sad. So here we go. You're most likely going to want to pay attention to this part right here. It says visitors can write. Let's go look at this change privacy thing. So you got a bunch of different settings you can do. Private keeps the Padlet hidden from the public. No one can access it. Password means that it's hidden from the public, but like your kids would need a password to get into it. Secret is probably what you're most likely going to use. Secret keeps it hidden from the public, but you can share it with anybody who has the link, which is, I would assume, what you want to do. Public lets the world see. We'll go later in on this video, we'll look at some things you can do with Padlet, and there might be some reasons why you would want it to be public. Visitor permissions right here, make sure that you make this how you want it as well. If you set it to can read, then your students, when they get into the Padlet, can only view the Padlet. They can't change it, they can't do anything to it, which might be okay because you could set up a Padlet with like a timeline with lots of different things that you just want them to look at and not modify. So That's can read. Can write is basically the default setting. So if you have a Padlet and you want kids to be able to put stuff on the Padlet, but not actually delete your Padlet or whatever, then this is where you want. If you put can edit, then they have all the same rights that you do, including changing the settings, deleting the Padlet, proving posts, etc., etc. So you're probably going to want to do the can write version right there. Okay. So that's sharing. And then, like I said, when you share, you're going to want to figure out whether you want to get a QR code, put it on your website, send it out an email. Most likely you're going to share it on Google Classroom. That's probably where you're going to do it. So let's take a look now at some other people's Padlets and talk about ways that you could use Padlet in the classroom. So if you recall at the beginning of this video, when I showed you how to make a Padlet, I told you that there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can do a stream, grid, whatever. So let's take a look at some other people's Padlets so that you can see what each of these things looks like, so you kind of have an idea which one you might want to use. So we're going to go to the gallery. These are public Padlets. These are stunning public Padlets, so that you can kind of take a look at some different things. Hopefully I can find some things that will work for what we are trying to do here. So this weekly planner, there we go. So this weekly planner this looks like it's an example of the shelf. The shelf is where you can create columns and categorize posts. So it looks like the person created a column for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you can see the different posts underneath. So, as you're sitting there, maybe you're a language arts teacher, you could create columns with characters, say, and you could have kids fill in descriptions of each character from a story that you're reading. Or maybe, I don't know, if you're a science teacher, you could put up different planets from the solar system and have kids put in characteristics or different elements or things from the periodic table. If you're a social studies teacher, right, you could put up different events or different people that you're studying, presidents, whatever. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is the shelf right there. And so we're going to back out of this. Let's see if we can find something else. The San Francisco burrito map. I bet this is a map. Okay, so here we are. So map was one of the things that you could use. And essentially when you make a map, you have a map, and they got different kinds of versions of maps. So you can get, like a satellite view. You can get this kind of view. You can get an older map. They got lots to choose from. But you pick your map, and then you do a search for whatever you're looking for points. Like you can be as general as United States of America, or you can actually be as specific as typing in an address. And anyways, what it does is it will then put a little point marker there. Is that what that's called? A point marker? And in that point marker, you would then fill it in like you would anything else. So you could put in text, you could put in pictures, you could put in videos, etc., etc. So you can see this is what was this? Where you can get burritos in San Francisco? You can zoom in and out just like any other map. Papalote Mexican Grill. Hopefully that's good. So there we are. Let's back out of that. Here's a timeline. The evolution of FIFA graphics. Video games have come a long way. So a timeline, basically, it gives you a blank timeline when you first open it up, and then you click on it and insert different things, and it's just like before. You can insert pictures, video, links, drawings, whatever. So just looking at this timeline, right, there's FIFA International Soccer from back in my day. There's FIFA 95, etc., etc. I'm assuming all the way to the present. There we go. So you can see it's come a long way. So that's a timeline. I could see using a timeline in a number of different ways. Like as a social studies teacher, obviously you could, That's my background. So you could have kids make a timeline and add things to it. Or I could even use it as something, and I give them only read permission so they can't modify my timeline. But I could create a timeline, and with each thing, I could put in a video or some text or a link to a website that I want them to read. And I could take them through whatever event we're looking at and basically create a self-paced activity for them. So, this would be like the first battle of the Civil War, the second battle, the third battle, etc., 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 all complete with videos, links, graphics, whatever I wanted them to look at. I could see a language arts teacher having kids put scenes in order, create a timeline of the events in the book. You could make, steps to, if you were a math teacher, steps to do a math problem or a word problem. So there's any number of different ways to do it, but that looks like that's the timeline. So we'll cross that off our list. Let's see if we can find some other things. Here we are. I think I looked at this one before. Which fast food chain has the best burger? This looks like an example of that wall. So essentially what this does is it places everything based on size. So you can kind of see, it doesn't necessarily, it kind of keeps them in a nice little grid, but it doesn't label everything, but it just kind of places them as the kids put them in, places them kind of based on size. So you can see right there, which fast food chain has the best burger. Okay, films about fatherhood. So this, let's think. I think this is the stream. So when you do a stream, it basically looks like your Google Classroom stream or like Facebook. So as people post, it goes to the top and the older post heads down right below it. So it kind of looks like your Google Classroom stream. But there we go. Okay, let's go back. Let's close a lot of these down here. So that's the stream. We looked at a canvas, I believe, because that's what I made at the start of the video, so you could kind of see how that would look. Okay, the back channel. I couldn't find a back channel, so I'll create one very quickly so you can see what it looks like. It just looks kind of like a chat format. We'll just not modify anything because I just want to show you what this looks like. So when you say something and post it, there it is. Now if someone else responds, there it is. And so it just kind of looks like a chat, basically. That's kind of what it is. I could see using this maybe, if you were going to have a fake chat between characters in a book, or maybe have a fake chat between historical figures that you're studying, or you could even, maybe just have a chat where two people work out a problem together or explain something. You could even also maybe have kids create some kind of script using this where they can, this person talks and this person talks, etc., etc. So those are just some ideas, but that's basically how the back channel thing works. Let's talk about a couple other quick little things that are really important that you might want to take advantage of as you're using this. So here I am, I'm in my wall sample. Remember, you only get 3 Padlets, so you're going to end up having to delete Padlets. But if you still want students to have access to some of the stuff, you do have a little bit of things you can do. So when I come up here, I have my 3 dots, and see there's all this kind of stuff here. So one thing you can do is clear all the posts. That lets you reuse the Padlet without having to create a new Padlet. So the way I see you using this is, you have a post, say you're just doing something for brainstorming, okay, something simple. So you have this thing and you say to first hour, hey, brainstorm, and so they all brainstorm. Now you want to reuse the Padlet for second hour, but you don't want to have all the stuff that first hour came up with. So as soon as first hour class ends, clear all the posts, and when second hour comes in, they've got a blank Padlet. And so that's how I can see you reusing Padlets for multiple classes. Another thing that you can do from here is when you go to export, right, you've seen this, but you can also scroll down and save it as an image or a PDF. This isn't going to work with some stuff where, kids have posted videos and things, but, going back to the simple brainstorming session, if you just have something like that, that you just want kids to have access to it, and it's just text and images, then you can save it as a PDF or as an image. Then you delete the Padlet, but you still have the image, and you could post that to your Google Classroom, so everybody still has it as an option to look at. Or you can see there's printing and CSV, etc., etc. So the last part of this video, I just wanted to give you a few more ideas. Some of these are things I've thought of. Some of these are things I've just, kind of surfed the internet looking at how teachers use Padlets, just to give you some ideas. I mean, realistically, the sky's the limit. It's just only limited by your imagination and what you want your kids to do. So one of the things that quickly pops to my mind is using this, kind of like right here in this themes and Persepolis discussion. You could use it as an online discussion board. We have all done probably like a think, pair, share or something like that. So you could do kind of that idea, but with the discussion board. You could do it totally online when you're on, your online weeks or over Zoom, or you could even do it in class and have kids in their groups sit there and discuss something and then post their thoughts to the overall class discussion board. As you can kind of see here, there's groups, there's individuals. So you could do some kind of discussion like a think, pair, share. Some other ideas, which I don't have a Padlet to really show you, but just brainstorming. It's just a good brainstorming board, when you're trying to come up with story ideas or anything like that. One of the ways that a lot of teachers use this is to let kids ask anonymous questions. So I could see using this, either in class or, on your remote weeks where, a lot of kids, right, they don't want to ask a question in the chat, or they don't want to raise their hand in class or whatever. So you could just create a Padlet and just keep it up all the time and just say, hey, if you have a question, post something here, and then you check the Padlet every once in a while and answer the questions that are there. When the kid posts, especially if you don't have accounts, it's just going to show up as anonymous and no one's going to know who asked the question. Another option is an online exit ticket. Just like you would use an exit ticket in class, you could do an online exit ticket where you would ask a question and the kids post their answers. Let's see. You could use it as some way to see what kids already know. So take a look at their prior knowledge. So you could help plan out a unit, or use it as just, kind of a simple pretest or something like that. Just some way for you to see what they know about a topic so you can plan out your unit before you teach it. When I taught, one of the things I did, and I didn't use Padlet for this, but this was back in the day. I don't even know if Padlet existed. But one of the things I would do sometimes is I would have the kids spend a day or two creating their study guide as we would get ready for a test. And so we'd create this class study guide, and then they could take it home and use it. So you could do that with a Padlet. Just basically have the kids post answers to questions, post research, post pictures and videos, whatever you want them to post that would help them get ready for a test, and then they have that available to them when they go home. You could also use it as some way to assess peers. So you would make this Padlet, and you want kids to be positive with each other. So you might say, okay, post whatever, 3 good things that this kid did in a presentation and 1 thing they need to work on for future presentations. So you could do something like that so that then, the kid who made the presentation or the groups that made the presentation would be able to get some peer feedback from their stuff. Let's see. What else? You could do some kind of icebreaker, like 2 truths and a lie. Have every kid post something, post their picture, post 2 truths and a lie, and then kind of go through and see if you could figure out the 2 truths and a lie. So you could use it as an icebreaker or a warm-up activity in that sense. And then I mentioned at the start of the video where you might want to make a public Padlet. We always talk about kind of how school shouldn't be contained within, the walls of Columbine. So if you make a public Padlet, now it's not contained. So now you can sit there and solicit feedback from people from all over. So you can make a Padlet about, what's your experience with coronavirus been? And in theory, people, right, from all over the world would be able to put their comments and stuff into the Padlet. You could use it to connect with other classrooms around the world on a certain topic. So that would be how I could see why you would want to make it public, because you can get global responses to whatever your topic is. So that's Padlet. It's pretty easy. I didn't show you every single solitary minute thing about it, but you get the basics. And like I said, it's super easy. So you're really only limited by either your imagination or your ability to use Google. But there's lots of ideas out there. So good luck. If you have any problems or have any questions, come see me, and hope you enjoy Padlet.